low-rehearsal.
Good morning. Welcome to Theodore Parker Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Jake. My pronouns are he, they,
But then
and I've been attending.
the first movie is animation and
And if we could remind all Zoom participants, if you would mute your microphones, that would be greatly appreciated. As we enter into worship with all the chaos and imperfections, we bring with us all the sorrows and joys of our week, and we know that here we are held in loving community. Here we are reminded that we are part of something larger than ourselves. Here we seek to counter oppression, to work for healing and justice in a bruised and a broken world. Here, we invite each and all of you to bring your perspectives, your beliefs, and your doubts, and all that is unique and wondrous about you to our service. In the spirit of love, all are welcome here. For those joining us in person, a few things you may want to know. You can use the QR codes at either entrance or in your pews to pull up an order of service on your phone, or take one of the large print copies available at either entrance. All the information will also be on the screen. Our service is being recorded today and will be available on YouTube later. If you would like to have a joy or concern shared with the congregation today during our meditation and prayer, we invite you to fill out a card any time before our meditation hymn on the table to your right. You may also light a silent candle of joy or concern at any time during our worship service, or use the space in the far back corner for private reflection during the service. People of all ages are welcome to move about in the sanctuary as they need to, or to make themselves comfortable in the cozy zone in front of the first pew. Today, children are invited to be with us during the whole service because they make up a lot of the service today. And many of them will be our worship leaders on our winter solstice pageant Sunday. We do also have childcare available for children under 4 in the nursery, located in the parish hall. Many thanks to Kevin, who is our camera point person today, and to Jen, who is our Zoom usher. If you are new to Theodore Parker Church or are visiting today, we would love to stay in touch. You're invited to fill out a connection card, which will give you the opportunity to sign up for our weekly updates and help us to welcome you. A link to the connection card will also be in the chat, as well as our contact info. Those joining us here in the sanctuary are encouraged to fill out the contact card that you'll find in your pew by the hymnals within the welcome brochure. And now we'd like to take a moment to greet one another. For those of you on Zoom, putting your camera on for this time helps us to connect. And Kevin, if you'd please put the screen in gallery view. Let's give each other a big wave. The camera is under the clock in the back. And now as we continue to greet one another, if online, post a hello in the chat. And if you're physically in the sanctuary, we invite you to greet one another and say good morning. And please ask for consent before offering physical hug or handshake. Let us greet one another.
Christmas gigs? No, good. Enjoy your time with the family.
Good morning. My name is Rose. I serve as this congregation's religious educator, and I'm so excited to be with you all this morning on our Solstice Pageant Sunday. I'll say a little bit more about the pageant and how it's going to run later. I will mention just to start, if you didn't pick up a prop on your way in, I encourage you to find an usher and get one. There'll be moments for everyone to be able to participate in the pageant through those props. So this pageant this morning is celebrating the winter solstice, a day that we just passed yesterday. And we'll be telling a story that's new to us here at Theodore Parker Church. It's called The Snow Tree, based on a book by Caroline Repchuk and adapted by UU religious educators Tarina Carter and Jenny Papp. It's a no rehearsal pageant, so I hope you enjoy the holy chaos of no rehearsal as much as I do. And let's open our worship time together now with by welcoming Solstice, by welcoming this longest night and shortest day that has just passed. Solstice, also known as Yule. This poem by Susan Cooper welcomes us to the shortest day. And so the shortest day came, and the year died. And everywhere down the centuries of the snow-white world came people singing, dancing to drive the dark away. They lit candles in winter trees. They hung their homes with evergreen. They burned beseeching fires all night long to keep the year alive. And when the New Year's sunshine blazed awake, they shouted, reveling. Through all the frosty ages, you can hear them echoing behind us. Listen. All the long echoes sing the same delight. This shortest day, as promise wakens in the sleeping land, they carol, feast, give thanks, and dearly love their friends and hope for peace. And now, so do we, here, now, this year and every year. Welcome, Yule. Please join me now in singing our opening hymn, number 235, Deck the Halls. The words will be up on the screen, and please rise in body or spirit as we sing.
Good morning. I am Reverend Heather Concannon. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the minister of this congregation. And I am going to lead us in our chalice lighting, the symbol of Unitarian Universalist faith, once in English and once in Spanish, in honor of our sibling community in Plazuelas, El Salvador. I'm wondering, we don't have a chalice lighter, and I'm wondering, oh, we have many chalice lighters. Fantastic. Great. Louisa, Amalia, Jojo, and Kenny are going to light our chalice as we say together our chalice lighting words, our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es nuestra oración. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros. So this week also marks the last Sunday in Advent. And in the Christian tradition, Advent marks a time of preparation for the arrival of Jesus Christ into the world. And it's a time to reflect on what it means to be waiting. Advent is a time of expectation and preparation, and as Unitarian Universalists, I think it invites us to ask, what are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the life of the world? So we light candles each of the 4 Sundays, and I don't have enough hands to light candles, so if anybody would be interested in being a candlelighter, Eleanor, all you. If you want to take that little, yep, you know how to do it, amazing. So we light candles for each of the 4 Sundays, yep, purple one first, the first one for hope, and then another purple one for peace. Yep, the rose-colored one for joy. And today's the 4th one for love. The last one is for Christmas Eve. Perfect. We celebrate the hope, peace, joy, and love that are the spirit of the season.
We now begin with the first section of our pageant, in which we will set the scene. So this pageant will be told in 3 parts throughout the service. This first section is a short section in which we'll be setting the scene of our story together. Once upon a time, there was a forest completely covered in snow. It was the deepest part of winter when the nights had been getting longer and colder for some time, and the light of summer was a distant memory. In this forest, there was a large tree in the center of the clearing that seemed extra special to anyone who passed by. Not far from this tree was a small cave where a young bear was deep in her winter slumber. The bear is deep in her winter slumber. Okay, this is the first time that I need all of your help for this story. If you picked up a fluffy piece of fabric on your way in, that is our snow. Can you come up and help decorate our snowy scene so we feel exactly how this snow tree is covered? Wherever, yes, or on the ground, wherever you can find a spot to cover our snowy scene, maybe around the tree. Beautiful. Thank you all. Now that the scene for our story is set, I invite you to imagine yourself as an animal in this snowy forest, much like the world outside these doors right now, perhaps curled up cozy like the bear.
Friends, as we deepen into our story, we pause for a time of meditation and prayer. And we have an opportunity to share what joys or concerns are on our hearts with us this morning. If you're here in the sanctuary and would like to include a joy or a concern in our prayer time this morning, you can fill out a card right here during our centering hymn. And if you're joining us on Zoom, I invite you to type that into the chat now. As we deepen into this space, I invite you to enter into this moment here and now. Take a few nurturing breaths and find a still, quiet space within yourself. I invite us to remain seated and sing our centering hymn, Dark of Winter. The words will be on the screen, and it's number 55 in the gray hymnal. This morning, we have several prayers to lift up. A sorrow from Susan, prayers for Sam Kidder, who is surviving her second bone marrow transplant, now with COVID. And a joy from Jen for a white Christmas. Having trouble finding the chat on my Zoom app. And a prayer from Marcia Feldman. For my cousin Diane, who had a recent cancer diagnosis. And from Kathy Ware. For my dear friend Sarah, whose mother is on hospice care this week. For all of these prayers and for all that we hold in our hearts, we light a candle. Spirit of winter and holy darkness, we move so slowly through these long nights. We wonder if light will ever return. In the long night of winter, we have questions that we cannot answer, fears that cannot be quelled. And we need faith during the dark night of winter that light will return once again, the promise of spring. We need faith during these long nights that hope will return again, the promise of love. Spirit of holy darkness, we pray for peace for our weary and restless spirits. We pray for a peace that flows through us in these dark nights. May we embrace this darkness and these times of not knowing, times of doubt, confusion, and mystery. And may we look for those dawns that come again, more brilliant and more beautiful because of the night. In the holy darkness of the solstice, the depth of the dark surrounds us, and we find love there, and we find peace there. And we have faith that the light returns. Together we rest into several moments of shared silence.
We now return to our story forest together and turn our attention to Bear. Does Bear want to come out on center stage? Here she comes. Bear was born in the spring and had not yet experienced her first winter. She grew quickly during the warm days of summer and was almost an adult. She left her mother and siblings to strike out on her own, and as the days grew shorter and cooler, and the leaves turned from green to orange, she had found a cozy cave in which to sleep away the winter. One day, in late December, Bear roused from her hibernation, as bears often do, and lo, the world was white from a recent snow. Concerned, Bear cried out,
"Where have all the colors gone?"
they had never seen such a white and wintry world before. But the wind only answered with silence. The wind wasn't entirely unhelpful, though. The wind carried Bear's cries to their friends all throughout the forest. One of these friends was Lynx. Is Lynx ready? So Lynx appeared, and in short order, Lynx had brought some orange leaves with her. She explained, Lynx,
Can't read.
do you want to help her? You can read it out. Lynx, do you want me to say the line? Lynx explained, these orange leaves are for the snow tree, so we will remember the warm glow of fall and the burning sunset of the evening sky. You want to put the orange leaves on the tree? Anywhere you want. Maybe anywhere you can reach. Oh. Next came Squirrel. Is Squirrel ready? Nice. Squirrel got scarlet berries from that basket right there. The scarlet berries glistened crimson against the snow, and Squirrel said,
It reminds us of the flowers and the fruits from the forest and the fields.
And then Squirrel hung the red berries on the tree. Then came along Blue Jay. Is Blue Jay ready? Blue Jay flew down with blue feathers in her beak. And she said, I'll say that. She said, this is all I have to give, but these feathers are as blue as the summer sky in the rolling waters of the river. And then she hung the blue feathers on the snow tree. Next came Raccoon. We don't already have a raccoon. I wonder, yeah, Amali, do you want to be the raccoon? Raccoon came up, padded softly through the snow with fresh green shoots. And then Raccoon said,
My offering is to remind us of the green of spring, of new life after the sleep of winter.
And then Raccoon hung the green shoots on the tree. And then Reindeer came along. I wonder who could be our reindeer? The next one, okay. Reindeer had purple rocks along with her. See the purple rocks? Reindeer brought purple rocks and said, "Here is a color that will endure forever, as purple as the mountains and the rolling clouds of thunder," and hung the purple rocks on the tree. Then Bunting came along, a small yellow bird named Bunting. Bunting came along and alighted a nearby branch, carrying yellow cones. Bunting came with yellow cones and said, "I carried all I could, so we won't forget the trees that grow all summer long in the forest." With yellow pine cones. The yellow pine cones were hung on the tree. And then Arctic fox came along. Arctic fox came along and brought icicles that sparkled silver in the frosty light, like raindrops in sunlight. And then Arctic fox said,
It is time to decorate the snow tree.
oh, yes, go ahead, yes.
And you, little bear, will guard this tree all winter long. Your black fur will remind us of night's velvet darkness.
An Arctic fox hung the icicles on the snow tree. Okay, all, this is the second time I need your help. If you, on your way in, picked up an orange leaf or a scarlet berry, a yellow cone, a green shoot, a purple rock, a blue feather, or a white icicle, please come up now and help to decorate our snow tree.
Last of all came Moose. A bright golden star hung gleaming his neck. At his neck,
Moose proclaimed, "Set this star high upon the tree. Let its light shine out to all the creatures of the forest, that they may gather to celebrate the glory of the season and the beauty and peace of friendship." Repeat that part.
The tree was now completely covered in color and stood out beautifully against the snowy white forest. Bear was amazed at all of the reminders of beauty and their friends, and brought to this special tree. All of the animals stood around and smiled as they gazed at the snow tree.
All of the animals stood around and smiled as they gazed at the snow tree.
And just as these animals have brought gifts to beautify their world and share with one another, we also have the chance to beautify our world and help our community grow and expand and remember. Each week we take an offering to sustain the many ministries of this congregation. We give because we believe that we are part of something larger than our individual selves. We give because we believe in music and sacred space, in transformation and in hope, in stories and in art, in community and in love. We give because we know that it takes all of us sharing our many gifts to make this space possible, to make our world beautiful, with the faith that together we have more than enough. Links to donate will be in the chat and on the screen with a QR code. And ushers will be coming around if you wish in the sanctuary to give via physical donation of cash or check. And Jonathan will play O Tannenbaum for us.
we return to the forest for the final part of our story. As the day passed, the animals sat with Bear around the snow tree and continued to talk and laugh, just as they have been doing. As the daylight waned, one by one, they each sought their nighttime lairs. All of the animals except for Bear went to sleep. All of the animals except for Bear went to sleep. Then Bear cried, oh, wait, Bear needs the microphone. Bear cried,
What? But we haven't seen each other in months, and why is it getting dark so soon?
night fell, and Bear was left alone with the snow tree, the only one awake in the forest. As it became darker and darker, the tree's beautiful colors and reminders of warmer days waned until the forest had faded into a blur of soft grays and blues. Left alone in this strange land of snow and cold, Bear started to feel sad and began tearing up when Owl arrived on silent wings. Owl exclaimed,
I am here. I have brought a black rock with silver flecks to represent the glorious night sky filled with stars.
you gotta hold up the rock. There's our beautiful black rock. Owl noticed Bear's tears, and Owl asked.
Have you been crying?
Bear answered while rubbing her eyes.
Yes, I miss the warmth and sun and light. I don't like how everything is cold and dark now. I feel afraid. I can't even find my den to go back to sleep.
Owl looked silently at Bear for a moment. Then she said,
As a creature of the night, I love the dark, and tonight is a special night. It is the winter solstice, the longest night of the year.
Seeing that did not cheer Bear, Owl continued,
Yes, the world is very different now and must seem quite strange to you, a child of spring. But it is beautiful in its own way. The glistening snow, the quiet, and the stars. Oh, the stars, have you seen them?
Bear then looked up for the first time and saw that the winter sky was ablaze with silvery points of light, a night sky that Bear had never seen in the haze of summer. Then her eyes moved to the forest in its quiet beauty and tranquility. Finally, she again looked at the snow tree, the snow and the stars faintly illuminating its branches in the darkness. Bear exclaimed,
Oh, it's lovely. I never knew the dark could be so beautiful.
Owl replied,
Yes, without the dark and the cold, the spring sun would not seem so bright, nor the summer days as sweet.
Bear gazed upon the frozen landscape and again took in its beauty. She no longer felt afraid. Suddenly, she spied the entrance to her den in the dim starlight. A wave of sleepiness overcame her.
I'm
Bear-
asleep now. Good night, Owl, and thank you.
Farewell.
Said Owl as she flew away into the night. With one last glance at the snow tree, Bear made her way to her den and curled up for a long winter sleep.
I think we ought to sleep now.
As she dozed, her thoughts drifted to all the colorful reminders that her friends had brought to cheer her earlier that day, and her heart was full. And although they longed for the warmth and sunny days of spring, the beautiful snow tree, cloaked in silence and silvery starlight, lingered in their dreams all winter long. The end. Can we have all of our participants up on stage for a big round of applause and a bow? Thank you all so much for making our Solstice pageant possible. Please now rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, There Will Be a Light. You may be seated. Our benediction is from Wendell Berry, To Know the Dark. To go in the dark with light is to know the light. To know the dark, go in the dark. Go without sight, and to find that dark, and find that the dark too blooms and sings, and is traveled by dark feet and dark wings.
First of all, I want to thank Rose and the children in our religious education program for serving as our worship leaders today. Thank you all so much. Just another round of applause for all of them. If you're joining us in person, I'd love to invite you to coffee hour, which is through our breezeway door right here and in our parish hall next door. And if you're joining us on Zoom, please stick around for our breakout rooms to say hello to one another. A couple of other announcements. Christmas Eve is in 2 days on Tuesday. Worship starts here at 5:30, and our house band will be playing starting around 5:05. So please, if you'd love to hear our house band, please get here around 5, and worship will start at 5:30. We would love to see you there. All are welcome. We are also in search of 3 more ushers for Christmas Eve. So if you are planning on coming and can get here a little bit early and are willing to serve as an usher, we need 3 more ushers. We expect a lot of visitors on Christmas Eve, so it'd be really helpful to have a sufficient number of ushers. So if you're able to serve as an usher, please let Pat Hamilton know. Pat is right over here and would love to sign you up to be an usher. We are continuing our drive for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee's Guest at Your Table program through January, and you can find boxes and information at coffee hour today or by talking to Jake Bittner or Joy Martin. And I believe that's everything we have today. We will also be having our Quaker-style service, worship service next Sunday, a week from today on to the 29th, led by Allison Gottlieb and Matt Harmon. So please also join us for that. We close with our postlude from Yukiko, Well-Tempered Clavier Book by Bach.